This video is dedicated to anyone who has watched or remembers watching Dastick back in the day. And by back in the day, I mean 2017. Back in 2017, storytime animators became a huge thing, and this made a bunch of people inspired to make their own storytime animation channel. So a lot of people jumped on that bandwagon, myself included. And this is where Dastick came along. He was a blue rectangle that told stories and did Q&As over a little animation of his little guy. You know, classic storytime animator stuff. But why am I talking about Dastick, you ask? Because, like I said before, there's a bunch of other channels that did the same exact thing. One, shut up. Two, because to the people that had their own crappy little storytime animation channels, like I said, I was one of them, and I'm sure some of you were too. Dastick was exactly what you wanted to be. It wasn't such an unrealistic expectations like the millions of subscribers that the Odd Ones Out had or something. And also, you actually knew the guy. He built his following off of going to small channels and leaving a nice comment, maybe subscribing. And so, you know, this person would look at Dastick's channel, and Dastick's quality of video was way leagues above any, you know, 12-year-old that didn't know how to edit. So, you know, that would blow this kid's mind. He would subscribe to Dastick, and now Dastick had a new subscriber. And now Dastick knows who this guy is, and now he can get a hold of all of his little YouTuber friends, do the same thing to them, so he has 3 more subscribers. Then he can find all their little YouTuber friends, and that's more subscribers, and that's more and more and more. You can imagine how fast he grew compared to everyone else in this tiny, you know, little corner of YouTube. And I know he did this because I was one of those friend of friends. I made crappy Odd One Out ripoff videos when I was little, and I got a nice comment. I clicked on the channel, and lo and behold, it's Dastick and his insane 100 subscribers at the time. He found me through my friend, and he probably found my friend through his other friends. But, you know, I was a part of Dastick's like community, I guess, for like a year or so until, you know, I forgot about him completely and I stopped trying to be a YouTuber. So, but since I started making YouTube videos again, I started to look at my old videos, and I was reading the comments, and I saw a familiar blue rectangle. So I clicked on his channel, and wow, he became corporate. But besides the new minimalistic design, he has gotten a lot of subscribers since I last seen him. Look down and nothing. What happened? I go to his links, Twitter, nothing. Instagram, nothing. And an email that was probably abandoned as well. The last link was the old Discord server, and sure enough, it was dead. Everyone's last comments were about how Dastick disappeared. And after asking around the people with the high ranks, none of them knew anything. And the last remaining footage of him is a re-upload of his 100 subscriber special, where he's singing a parody of You're Welcome from Moana. And since I couldn't find anything in Discord, I went back to his YouTube channel. He didn't have any YouTube videos, but he did have a playlist of collaborations he did. One of them being of a random guy making a bead figure of Dastick, and there's another small animation channel that had him say a couple lines. And then the last one was just, it was just a collaboration with Joey's World Tour, with the most random animation from Dastick where he drew real humans and had a rap session.
Dastick. And he might be as big as Walt Disney one day.
No, he won't.
I wish I knew how to draw. I can only draw stick figures.
So can he.
Woo, 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 woo.
How on earth did Dastick manage to pull this off? Not only did he get a feature in a channel with more than 500,000 subscribers, but it's also a channel that a lot of people on the internet would recognize. So now I'm deep in this rabbit hole. I came from when he had like 100, maybe 200 subscribers, and now he has 2,000 subscribers, a collab with Joey's World Tour of all people, and he's nowhere to be seen. The only video we have left of him is his 100 subscriber special that someone re-uploaded. But this is when I saw something else. A live stream from Jake the Terror called Thank You and Welcome. Apparently Dastick had shouted him out at the time, so then he started streaming.
Let me go to Twitter.
Immediately asked if anyone wanted to be his editor, and so he put his email like directly in the middle of the screen. So, of course, I emailed him. But after this, he goes to watch Dastick's old videos. And thanks to Jake, I think that this is the only way you can watch Dastick anymore, so good job, Jake.
I want a screenshot.
Answer my email.
Alright, guys, I gotta check my email right now.
And speaking of emails, that was the last thing I had left. The email Dastick has in his description. With nowhere else left to go, I sent him an email asking if he wanted to answer some questions that I had, which was immediately responded by an automatic response saying he did not receive my message and to only contact this other email for legitimate business inquiries. I certainly did not have any legitimate business inquiries, and I did not want to be annoying, so that was it. I had no more leads. The channel had nothing else to find. The Discord was useless. I had nothing. case came to a close. Until now, Dastick reappeared in the Discord randomly after 9 months. And check my email. Did I check my... Okay, so it turns out that Dastick actually replied to my email 6 months after I sent it, and I never saw it, so we're just going to pretend like it never happened. But Dastick has returned. After 6 years, I can finally talk to him again. Well, technically, this will be the first time I've ever talked to him because I have only communicated through YouTube comments. And hopefully he agrees to do an interview because at the time of recording this, he has not responded to me. Well, if he does, mandatory interview time. If he doesn't, then we'll have to see, I guess. Dastick has agreed to have the interview, even though it took 2 weeks, but it's alright.
Yeah, it took me a while. I tend to move a little bit slow, but that's alright. I'm here now. That's what matters.
Yeah, it took you 6 months to answer my email, so...
Hey, okay, if I'm not checking the email, then I'm not going to see it. That's how it works. If I'm not looking at the email...
I'm just joking. Hey, honestly though, I mean, I got an auto response saying you were never gonna see it, so I mean...
Some advice for the audience, check your email. People get very angry like Comathan, but it's okay.
Don't come over that. That's weird. First question is starting at the beginning. But how did the channel get started? You know, just like general history and whatnot.
I guess it was Christmas morning, and we all love Christmas morning. That's one of those happy moments, and especially for, you know, an American like me. Presents under the tree and all that, and frankly, it started on Microsoft Paint, and if you actually saw some of the very old stuff, then that wouldn't be very surprising. I was 12 years old, and I found some text-to-speech programs, and I wanted to draw myself. You know, I drew from some of the artistic inspirations that I had in early, mid-elementary school when I used to draw comics and stuff. So it came from wanting to draw things and of course wanting to make entertaining stories and commentaries and stuff like that. And so I drew a rectangle, filled it in with my favorite color, cyan blue, and I used to draw comics with lines for eyes, and that's what happened. And so I started making videos, of course, as you do, and I used text-to-speech, and people at school would watch my videos, of course, because I couldn't help but share them. Yeah. Because I really, really just wanted them to get made fun of, right? That was just such a strong desire. Yeah. But I had some close friends, and they said, you know, you should just use your voice. It's more personable. And I thought about that, more personable. And I thought that that's not only a good transition to go from text-to-speech to using my voice, but also a good philosophy to have a channel in general. I mean, if you're a professional animator or if you're making docuseries or if you're a journalist, your content is your content. But if you're just doing commentary and you've got this funny little character, your content is you. You are the content. You are what they're there for, right? So after a couple videos, I ended up having to move across the country. I couldn't use my desktop computer anymore, so I was conformed to this laptop and this tiny little super aged, ancient Logitech headset and it was this old laptop, and the videos were terrible. but they were fun. They were fun, and they had a very community-oriented feel, and that was the appeal.
Was that the era of like 70 subscriber special?
Oh yeah. Well, I was so surprised every single time somebody would come and start commenting. They would stick around. It wasn't like a community that was in and out, or people would come to one video and not watch the next. If you were part of the Blue Crew, if you were watching Dastick, then you were part of the journey. You know, I think a lot of the channel's foundation was just those calls and those streams and those funny raids and conversations, and we'd join games and just it was a lot of fun. It was very community oriented, and at some point I even got an email asking for me to respond to some of the videos that people were making about my channel. And so it was this revelation. It was, whoa, not only can I just go review my subscribers' videos, but when they make a video about my channel, I can review the video they made about my channel.
You're like
and
free
then
content for 'em.
incentivize people to make more video. I know, exactly. It's not only free content, but it's super entertaining. But when I started making video responses is when I really needed a place for everybody to gather, and that's where the Discord server came. And so there was drama, there was fun, that was some crazy stuff. And at some point in my channel, our internet provider, AT&T, I was talking about we had to move, did not provide any Wi-Fi that we are paying for.
Oh my
so
goodness.
I just couldn't have any Wi-Fi. There was a long time where I could not make any videos, and that was the first diss track I'd ever made. It was against AT&T.
Oh, I remember the thumbnail, actually.
Yeah, unfortunately, they never responded with a track.
I have another question. What was that one video that and I know there was some sort of joke about like your most popular video being like something totally different, like a meme video or something. And I don't know what they're talking about.
Megaphone.
Yeah.
Before I privatized that video, I think I got 400 something subscribers from that one video alone. Before I privatized Bart Ocean Man Megaphone, it got almost 800,000 views.
Oh my gosh, that much?
We got our Wi-Fi back eventually, and I went on this trip out to my grandma's house for a little while, and our water heater in our house exploded and flooded everything.
And it took out the
And
Wi-Fi again.
So even, not only the Wi-Fi, everything was flooded. And so that was another time when I went from not being able to do daily uploads to not even be able to do weekly uploads because I just couldn't upload videos. Everything was flooded. And I wanted to make a big return to YouTube after the water heater explosion. I wanted to find something new. And I had a hobby because I made comics, I had a hobby of animating. So I thought that was... Well, there was a fork in the road there. It was one, I either give up because, my channel's going to die because it's been my entire house flooded and it's been a long time since I've uploaded, or I come back with something so big everyone has to return.
Yeah.
And that was sort of where animation came in.
I see.
And I have to say, to this day, I don't know if animation was the right move because I don't think animation was really the channel.
Okay, well, we'll get back to the channel disappearing, but I do want to ask how your channel, like the way your channel grew earlier in the video, was my hypothesis correct?
What I did do is, and I don't think this is how my channel grew, I have the analytics, so I can tell you actually how that happened. But when I started watching smaller YouTubers, I would offer collabs that were genuine offers, right? Because I would do them. I did tons of them.
Yeah.
I mean, collabs were why some of the most popular videos I had were the most popular. The analytics indicate that the vast majority of my subscribers come from my most popular videos. Yeah, so I would say you're partly right. You're partly right in that I did reach out to a bunch of YouTubers. It's just that those smaller YouTubers counted for a very small percentage of the
because I would
viewership
just
that I actually
figure
gained from
it was
collabs.
just a domino effect of just a bunch of people, because I didn't think you were like evil mastermind, like, and then once I talk to all these people and steal all their phones, like they'll subscribe to me and not each other or something, like obviously I just figured.
Well, of course there was a
people.
part of that. I said, well, I'm going to come to this small YouTuber and I'm going to talk to them. I'm going to offer a collab and they might become a subscriber of mine. Of course, that was in my mind, but also what that was turning into was a genuine community. And so
it worked out.
It was definitely
you have a cult following in the Discord of like 20
it was
people.
It was positive. It was positive on both sides. I would say it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, like when you started the channel, or like maybe like after you hit like 100 subscribers or something, like did you think you were gonna go anywhere? Like, did you have goals in your mind that you were thinking of, or were you just like bumping out videos because it was fun and you like talking to people?
What was the ambition with YouTube? It was the same thing when someone starts a club or has a social group. I mean, it was kind of the same feel. My viewers were not the same as other channels. The channel that has, and I'm willing to make this claim boldly, I think a channel that has 100,000 subscribers probably has the same number of very connected and passionate participating subscribers as I did, I would say. I had more fan art than I could even show, and nearing the latter half of my channel, I had so
How
much
does that
fan art.
like stardom affect you when you're like 13? Like a kid in 7th grade with all these like fans.
This is just my opinion, right? But when someone gets stardom in general, in any way and on any scale, you can choose pride or humility, right? I mean, it can humble you, it can genuinely humble you. And I know that sounds strange, but when people say very kind things and when they're vulnerable and when they pour their heart to you, and even in high quantities, there are two ways that you can take that. One is you could take it in a prideful way, and the other way, you can be grateful, and you can say, well, this is all the good fortune of not only the viewers, but the fact that I had this platform. In a way, it humbled me. It humbled me. It really did. And that changed the way that I approached things even at school. Is when I would go to school, I would think, there's so much that I have to be grateful for. And of course I'm confident. That doesn't mean don't be confident. But it humbles you in understanding that there are many circumstantial things that may affect you in a positive or negative way. And my platform on Dastick it was one of those positive circumstances. And of course it took hard work. Of course it took networking. And of course it took emailing YouTubers. And of course it took commenting on people's videos and learning animation and struggling through that whole thing and getting through YouTube drama, which I maybe inadvertently enjoyed too much than I should have. At the end of the day, man, it was a net positive on my life in that it made me humble, and it made me realize that people are people, celebrities are people. Oh my gosh. Joey's World Tour, when I first reached out to him, I was so nervous, oh my gosh, he's such a big following, blah, blah, blah. But he's a dude, He's just a dude.
How did that even go down? Like how? Like literally how did you manage to do that?
He was not the only big YouTuber I was in talks with. I'm not even bluffing. I could send you a screenshot of what I had specifically with Ownage Pranks. And obviously I don't want to name all the other ones because that would take me going through my Discord.
But why Joey's World Tour? Or was it just like a bunch of people and he was just caught in the net of all the YouTubers that you were sending emails to?
I'd like to say he was caught in the net. And also he was one of the earliest ones to respond. So around that time is when I was uneasy about the time commitment.
Yeah. Well, I just meant why'd you send one to him at all? Because obviously if he responds first, then yeah, you're gonna go all out with him. But I'm just meaning I was just asking because he's such a random
I watched
choice.
Food Reviewers. I did watch Food Reviewers. The Report of the Week, Dame Drops, Joey's World Tour. I like Food Reviewers. And, Badlands Chugs. Those guys are hilarious. And actually, it seemed like a lighthearted enough channel to where it matches my fan base. That's the best reasoning I could give to you, but I will say I did cast those emails pretty broadly. And he was very kind enough. And even to this day, I'm very grateful for what he did. I'm very thankful. Yeah. He was kind enough to say, okay, yeah, that'd be great. And I do think that I did provide some entertainment to his video. And if you look in the comments of his video, there's a lot of criticism.
It's so funny.
I was getting blasted.
Yeah.
And when I read it, I just laughed, and I knew that Joey's World Tour had created something that was more entertaining, and I followed through on my promise. Because if nobody mentioned the intro at all, if no one commented about it at all, then I wouldn't have done anything for him.
Yeah, I don't know. It was just funny to see, and especially sorry for making fun of you earlier in the video. He's like, he'll be as big as Walt Disney one day. I'm like, He's like, I can only draw stick figures. I'm like, have you seen Dastick's drawings? What was the aftermath of that? Because that was the only, big collab they actually went through with, right? So was that where half your subscribers came from or something?
No, it was not half. It was a lot of views, but it wasn't a ton of my subscribers. It was a good portion. It wasn't most of my subscribers.
Yeah, no,
it was definitely a good substantial portion of them, but it wasn't most.
Who was in that video? Was it
Oh, it's always viewers, because I recognize that the people who motivate me to continue going are the people who are in the Discord and who are constantly commenting, right? So I always go to the most active members of my community first for voice lines or all that. So I was very proud of that. I was very proud of that, to be able to take the people that were in my community and give them spotlight in a bigger channel. And so we're kind of in it together.
Besides all that, though, to talk about the art still, I remember the redesign. And I was going to ask about the redesign because I remember always, when that happened, 6 years ago or whatever, because I remember I had been watching you for a while at that point. And then you did the Dastick redesign where you had the nose and the different mouth or whatever.
Yeah.
And I remember it looked way worse. I remember thinking that. I was like, why would you do that?
Everyone agreed. Everyone.
Yeah,
agreed.
like
I was
making fun of the
gonna stick
nose.
with that design until a point. So actually, the new design that you see on my profile picture now, or in the
Yeah.
banner in the profile picture,
Yeah, that
right
was
now,
that was the next question I was gonna ask. Why'd you become
those
corporate?
those were that was the coming design. So if I stayed on YouTube, that would be the next design
I
of
see.
Dastick.
Like, why'd you actually leave YouTube or quit YouTube?
Animation changed the amount of time it took to make each of my videos, and all excuses and all pressure aside, I did think a lot about what I wanted in life in general, you know? And I looked at the way that I spent my time, and this was a big chunk of it. As well as that, I was in the marching band during high school, and so so there really wasn't any other space for anything else. And of course, I loved animation. I loved the community. I loved making videos, all that kind of stuff. And eventually, when I got older, I wanted to build competence in some field of study, and I wanted to do something that was useful. I'm going to move forward to something that I thought I was really going to be able to make a career out of. So I went on to start studying economics, and I'm also kind of doing some studies in law as well, so law and economics, and I'm looking to build competence in that. I'm spending pretty much every minute of my time on that. I think that everybody faces a choice in some sense. You know, everybody suffers, everybody has an unfair and difficult life. Everyone has every reason to be upset. And if you choose the easy road, if you choose to drift, then you're going to become bitter and useless. And then the challenges won't be so worth it. And you're probably going to be rejected by your family, community, worst of all, and most frighteningly of all, by women. And that's no way to live.
Women.
We all have a responsibility to make that choice. And so for me, that was the motivation behind it. That was why I left YouTube. Is there was this thing that was calling me, that was higher, that was going to take every minute of my time, and I was looking for something to be passionate about and to make a career out of. And unfortunately, hard work and sacrifice are kind of the same thing, and you have to sacrifice on the way to pursuing those things.
I guess I'll just move on to the next question, which was just, how is life for you now? No one knows what happened to you. So do you regret leaving, that kind of stuff? Like, what would it have been like if you didn't? Like, what if, like, a world where Dastick never disappeared and there's flying cars and floating cities?
Well, things are good right now. I'm studying to get my degree, and maybe I might go to grad school. I'm considering that quite strongly as well. I'm looking to build up my career. I'm working hard. Everything's been going very well. I've got perfect GPA, which not many people can say that, right? But again, back to the gratitude
Smart
thing, is
Dastick.
there's a lot of things. There are a lot of things that are part of that are out of my control, right? But I think that I have taken the right path, and YouTube is not the only thing I sacrificed on that path, right? And so if I hadn't left YouTube, I would have eventually. And that Dastick is a phase of my life that I'll never forget, and that I don't regret at all. But I also do think that I made the right decision, and I think I made a decision that everybody's going to be faced with eventually.
I mean, seems pretty commendable to me.
I appreciate that.
Last question I have written down, do you have anything to say to all the, the 20 people that are alive on the Discord server, and all the people who, watched Dastick growing up?
Well, I want everybody to know two main things. One is that the credit is not solely mine, and I am incredibly thankful for all the ways that they contributed over those years. And that the community really is not just me, it's them. And we were friends. We were friends. Nothing more, nothing less. We were friends that we were in it together. And so the first thing would be that I'm thankful to absolutely everybody. And the second thing would be, I would say, find something yourself. Find something that is meaningful to you, that you're willing to really pour your entire heart and soul and mind into. And that's how you're going to find purpose. That's how you're going to find meaning, and that's one heck of a way to live. It's adventurous. It's adventurous.
All right, yep. And everybody else who is still shocked at the voice being not squeaky anymore.
I was a squeaker. I was a squeaker for sure. So I'm good to get ready to end the recording then.
Oh yeah, you can end the recording, I guess, if you want to. We already said the goodbyes. Or did we say goodbye? I don't know. Bye. Yeah, that should be good enough. So yeah, that was the interview with Dastick. Don't mind my voice right now. I got sick. And don't mind the camera change. I changed the camera. Yeah, I hope that answers any questions that you had about Dastick or where he went and all that stuff. That's the end of the Where Did Dastick Go saga. Because now we know where he went. And other good news is that Dastick has agreed, or I guess not really agreed, but he decided himself. Dastick said he was going to make some of his videos public again. Which videos? I don't know. How many videos? I don't know. By the time you're watching this, they're probably already up. You can go watch some of Dastick's old videos. If they're not up, then just give it a couple hours. The only reason I say they wouldn't be up is if Dastick changes his mind and doesn't make them public, or if he makes them unlisted. And if that's the case, then go to the Discord server and you can find them. Disclaimer, Dastick is not coming back. I don't really think anyone thinks that, but I feel obligated to say that Dastick is not coming back to YouTube. You know, he's living his own life now. He's not. Thank you, Dastick, for saying yes to the interview. And thank you to all the people on Discord that, I guess no one really helped me because Dastick really just came back by himself, but good job, guys. We did it. We really figured it out. But yeah, I'm sick. I am hungry. I don't want to do this video right now, but to get it out on time, I'm doing it anyways, so whatever. I'll see you later, everybody. Bye-bye.